started in 2007, even though I did legal work for him in 2006, there was no conversation at all about Jeffrey Epstein. As far as the Katie Johnson case goes, I never handled it. There were 20 other lawyers in the firm. I didn't handle Katie Johnson. I didn't handle the Jane Doe, who was actually another pseudonym for the Katie Johnson, which, by the way, I learned just the other day, is also a pseudonym. It's not her real name. So when they asked me, when they asked me, tell us what you know, tell us what you know, I already have. It's not the case that I dealt with. And the Jane Doe case that I did deal with, remember, as a lawyer turned around and said to me as a joke, there are more Jane Doe cases filed in America than there are Ford F-150s.
Well, that's what I'm going to ask you about. Is I saw you in an interview with Tara Palmieri, and you mentioned handling a case of a 13-year-old Jane Doe.
So I didn't say 13-year-old. I said it was a child.
Okay, so somebody that was under the age.
Yes.
Whatever that age is. So you have no knowledge of who that is. And what do you mean when you handled that case? What did you do? Settle the case? Looked at it? Got it thrown out? Like, what happened?
Okay, if you watch it was on my Substack, by the way. I invited her on.
Yes.
What I explained, and I will explain it to your audience as well, very simply. I received on my desk a file folder like this one. All right? And in it was this document, this complaint that said Jane Doe versus Donald Trump. And I read it, and the allegations were horrific. You could vomit from how ugly these were.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
I tell you, they were ugly. So what did I do? I walked into his office. I knocked on the door. I said, "Hey, boss, can I speak to you?" Everybody out. And I threw everybody out. I closed the door and I said, "I got to show you something. This just came onto my desk. It's a complaint that alleges that you raped an underage girl by the name of Jane Doe."
Grape juice.
Sorry, grape juice. Sorry.
Yep.
I forgot was bullshit that were
No, that's okay.
All right.
That's okay.
Apologies.
No, continue. Yeah,
So,
continue.
Ultimately, what ends up happening is he looks me right in the face and he goes, "It's fucking bullshit." So, okay. So what did I do? I reached out because...
Hold on, you're mute. Okay.
Can you hear me? Sorry. So something seemed wrong. So I sent an investigator to see who this person was. I wanted to know, I wanted to get some information about it because it is a pseudonym. So we sent an investigator to the address that was listed in that complaint. And the investigator calls me and says, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" "Well, I'm at the address." I said, "Yeah." "And there's no building." I said,
I heard about this.
"No, there's no house either. It's a vacant parking lot." So what did I do? I called the lawyer that was listed on the paper. And I said, "Hey, I got a question for you. Did you make a mistake on this document? Because the address that's on here," and thank you, I love you too, by the way. And so I said, "The address that's on here happens to be a vacant parking lot." He's like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a vacant parking lot. Have you ever spoken to your client?" He says, "Truth be told, I never met my client. It was a referral from another lawyer." What's that?
No, I was just thanking somebody in the chat.
Oh, it's good to thank people. By the way,
it is.
How's your beautiful wife?
She's good. Yeah, she's out of town right now with the grandbabies. But
you do me a favor. You send my love over there. So
I will.
I turned around and I said, "Well, maybe you ought to try to reach out and see whether or not that there's legitimacy here." A day or so, whatever it was after, I get a phone call. "I'm withdrawing the case. In fact, I think we were duped." Right? That there was we've never spoken, and so we're going to withdraw the case. Okay. I never thought twice about it anymore. I was inundated with so much shit going on with the campaign, with the apprentice, with this, with that. I was so inundated with work. I didn't think about anything more. Why would I? The case has now been withdrawn by the counsel for this Jane Doe. And that's all that I know. And yet you have this fucking wolf pack of lying, these scumbags that just lie day in and day out, trying to draw me in to an Epstein scenario when I've never met Jeffrey Epstein. I've never spoken to him, never texted him, never emailed him, never went to his house, never went to the island, never been on his plane. In fact, as I stated, and I will say it a million times, I don't care if people get angry or not. During my decade plus of working for Trump, I never heard Jeffrey Epstein on the phone. He was never in the office, right? I had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, at the same time, I make no statements as to the allegations, as to the claims by the victims. Oh no, I'm never going to be the one who's going to turn around and say, "Oh my God, you're discrediting the victims." Bullshit. I didn't do it with E. Jean Carroll. I'm not doing it with any of these survivors, and I wish them nothing but love and health and happiness for the rest of their lives because they deserve it. But I'm not going to turn around and say, well, like Joy Reid today asked me, in your opinion, do you think he could do something like that? And I turned around and I said, I don't answer to opinion. I answer to facts, right? Documents matter. Why was it that E. Jean Carroll won her case? Because there was either documentation or corroborating testimony. That's what's essential in a criminal case. I'm not going to point at you and say, oh, Russell is this or Russell is that. Bullshit. I don't play that game. But if there's a fucking piece of paper that turns around and says it, that's in there, then by all means, I don't give a shit who the person is. Donald Trump or Donald Duck.
I mean, you're right. I mean, you're pointing to evidence, but I think that the reason that people like myself and Joy Reid want to ask you questions at what do you think Trump is capable of this is because you were with him, 12, 13 years? You were his right-hand man. You were his fixer. You did lie for him in the past.
I've never seen him physically involved with a child. I never saw it. Michael,
but that's...
He hired me also. I want to be clear about something. When he hired me, he didn't ask me to come work for him as his priest, as his clergy. We didn't put a confessional inside the office where it's like, Father Michael, I need to talk to you about something. Sure. And we go into the confessional and Donald, forgive me, Father Michael, for I said, all right, Donald, what the fuck did you do now? I raped a child. That's not legitimate. That's not real. It's a fucking joke for people to even think like that. And I understand people's disdain for him. I get it. Everyone has an opinion, but you don't win cases off of opinions. You win them off of documents. And that's why every single person that you have here in this TikTok needs to continue to put pressure on our members of Congress, on our senators, to ensure that every page, not just the ones that Pam Bondi, the DOJ want to put out, every single page is made available to members of Congress unredacted, except for the names of the victims. Plain and simple.
I'm with you. I mean, I think, Michael, evidence and obviously proof is paramount. But you've got to develop a case and develop patterns of behavior. Nobody, of course, you're not going to you're not going to physically see this unless you are at one of these parties that's described by certain survivors. And a lot of this we don't even know because it's in the files. But you're not always going to catch somebody in the criminal act. It's like, I make an analogy. Jeffrey Dahmer didn't tell people he was unaliving people and eating them in his apartment. You're not going to catch people doing it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I think people want to ask you because you were personally close to Trump.
Let me ask you a question. You're married a long time.
Yeah.
Right? Shana know every single thing about you?
No, of course not.
Okay, of course not. And every one of these haters, right? I'm certain that you have certain secrets that you keep from people. Do you really think that he's going to turn around, pull me to the side? I don't care how close you are, even with your best friend, and tell somebody something like this. The answer is, of course not.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But I think that's why people are asking you your opinion of his behavior, who his acquaintances. But it does, because
opinion doesn't matter.
No, but you can establish a pattern of behavior. That's what I'm saying. You can establish relationships.
But I've
Hey,
never
I saw
seen
him
that. But I have never physically or visually seen that behavior. So I cannot opine on something. And as somebody who's trained in litigation and law, you just don't do that, especially not for something like this. The documents are there, or they're not there. It's one of the other. And that's why it is so necessary to get it, right? It is so necessary that they release the files. By the way, I understand the fear the victims have. I understand it. But you know what? I'm still waiting too for any one of the victims to come out, point a finger, and say, yeah, I was one of the girls. Where are they?
What do you mean?
All of a sudden, huh?
There were like 12 of them in the damn courtroom today. What do you mean by that?
Not that turned around and said that they was Trump.
Oh, well, you don't think there's fear? Of course, you think with what we're seeing right now, with American citizens being pew-pewed down in demonstrations, you think one of these Schmepstein survivors is going to straight up come out and say, yeah, Trump did this to me? Michael, come on, you're a smart man, you're an attorney. Yeah, you did, but yeah, and why did you do that, though?
Because I was subpoenaed.
And you are a lot different than somebody that was being essayed starting at the age of 13 or 14 or 15.
100%.
That's what I'm telling you. Like, survivors are not
100%.
a lot of survivors. It's like you can bring up Harvey Weinstein. You can bring up Bill Cosby. How many of these survivors came out? I'm saying, like, a lot of people stay quiet just because they're not willing to say it in the moment. That does not mean, and I'm not saying Trump's guilty at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying we need to see what's in the files to see if there's any evidence of criminality with all of these people.
So, Russell, then you and I are saying the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
I am. I'm just saying don't rule it out by saying the survivors haven't specifically named Trump. And by the way, one has, and his name is Sasha Riley.
Did I rule it out?
No, I'm not saying that. You just said that no survivors have said the name, and I will say Sasha Riley in an interview did say his name. So I will say that. There has been one.
Then I'm wrong. I don't know the Sasha Riley case.
Well, you need to go listen to an interview. It's not necessarily a case. It's an interview. It's a leaked interview from a few weeks ago. So go look up. And that's a man, by the way. Okay, that's a military man.
Wait. So you have Tina Marie with Katie Johnson. That has already been debunked. Just so you understand. And not debunked by me. Not debunked by Joy Reid. Debunked by Katie Johnson's lawyer, Tom Marr. He debunked it. He actually sent me text messages, which I sent to Joy. Joy actually reached out to him, and he corroborated that these were the text messages he sent to me. That says, I never met or spoke to, I never worked with a Michael Cohen on any case.
But you were saying that Jane Doe is not Katie Johnson, though, correct?
Jane Doe is Katie Johnson. Jane Doe.
I thought you said it wasn't. I thought you said your case was.
I didn't think it. Russell, one sec, stop. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was the same person. It turns out it was the same person. I was wrong. They were the same person, and this lawyer represented both of them.
Okay, so here's my question to you.
It's not that Lev is lying. It's Lev just doesn't know what he's talking about. Lev is playing people in order to believe that this Katie Johnson and Jane Doe are actually the same person. I was 100% certain that they were not. 100% certain. Nevertheless, the lawyer turned around and said to me, they are, and I represented them both. He used Lisa Bloom in California because he's not admitted in California. He's admitted in New Jersey and New York. And so after that case failed, he ended up filing another action, even though different causes of action, the same type of a case, but different causes of action in the Southern District of New York, which ultimately got withdrawn as well. And the big question is, why was it withdrawn? So everybody said Michael Cohen knows. Lev starts saying Michael Cohen threatened her. The lawyer turned around and said, Michael Cohen had nothing to do with this. I don't even know who the hell he is. I never worked with him. I never dealt with him.
So your claim is you never threatened Katie Johnson, you never threatened her family, you never threatened her
I
representation.
never threatened anybody.
Do you have any idea